Hello there.
What is up, everyone? Hybrid Toy Reviews here, hoping you are all having a great Tuesday. I don't know how my Tuesday's going because I record this on Monday. But it is time for another topical video, and I have a discussion type one. I'd like to chat with people in the comments, hear what your thoughts are. But Monday, I saw a thing going around Instagram implying that The Force Awakens is going to be getting a little limited theater run celebrating 10 years of the film, and much like Revenge of the Sith got earlier this year for being 20 years old. And it kind of hit me like, yeah, the sequels are going on 10 years old. And like them or hate them, they came out, and I think it is time. It's been a number of years to start considering getting some sequel figures back in the Black Series. So, if you have been following my Instagram or anyone on Instagram in the toy community, you have surely been seeing stuff about Black Series Most Wanted, something that I have on the bulletin intro on this video and is linked in the description down below. But if you have been looking at my wanted lists, I have a number of sequel figures on there. And you know, a little part of me is sad that the most recent films in the saga actually are going to require a fan poll to get some of the main characters made in. And it's just kind of bizarre because once upon a time when a Star Wars movie would come out, you would get pretty thorough coverage of everything. Now, don't get me wrong, the sequels figure lines were absolutely mismanaged. Between the 375 all being 5 POA, which is generally an unpopular choice, and sequels taking over the Black Series for solid chunks of years at a time, I understand why some people are like, ugh, but hear me out. Force Awakens is going on 10 years old now. Do you know how bad a 10-year-old action figure looks compared to a figure of modern times? I completely acknowledge when The Force Awakens was coming out, we were getting some weird figures, your Constable Zuvios and your Guavian Death Gang members. And while some of them are fun, you know, I think it is a preference of generations past to really want to get every side obscure character. I know it was a popular thing in the Kenner line to make every Cantina alien back in the 70s and 80s. And it's something that collectors have strayed away from. And it's something where, man, I would probably be interested in getting the odd background character as long as we were getting really good coverage of the main characters first. And when it comes to the sequels, we really haven't gotten good coverage of the main characters. We did at one time a number of years ago. But we're going on 10 years anniversary here, and we didn't get a single Force Awakens figure in 2025, and that's kind of sad. And I'm not calling for it to take over the line for 2025, but I mean, can we just agree the First Order Stormtrooper is a pretty terrible action figure, and they are making much better armored trooper figures in this modern day and age? I think that, you know, at the very least, it would have been really cool this year to have gotten a new First Order Stormtrooper with modern trooper articulation, because even if you're not a big sequel fan, someone out there is going to army build it. Whatever volume you make of the troopers are going to sell. Uh, and then hit some of your popular characters. Why didn't we get an upgraded Kylo Ren and Rey? I mean, just hit your two mains. You know, do a Finn and a Poe. You know, I mean, it could have been a wave of 5 figures that pretty well thoroughly covered what was needed. Just to acknowledge it, you know, just to say, hey, it is 10 years of The Force Awakens. Some people had a great time with that movie. I have shared a lot of talk about seeing that movie in theaters many times with some friends from school. But you know, here's the darker, you know, behind the scenes of that. I had a lot of issues in school. Force Awakens came out the winter of my senior year, and so from the winter of my junior year, you know, we had that teaser come up on YouTube, you know, dropping the name and you know, the there's been an awakening. You know, we had that trailer for a year. It came out on like Thanksgiving break, And you know, um, I had like 2 years of looking forward to, and the truth is, high school was a bad time for me. There was a lot of issues with bullying and, just generally not being a fit for the South because I moved to Florida for a number of years. And people in Florida still don't like people from the North, and they will tell you that at the lunch table. And it wasn't a great time. There was a lot of teasing and ribbing and even harsher bullying. And so, high school for me, like knowing that there was new Star Wars on the horizon was like a really good thing for me. It was like at least there's something to look forward to tomorrow. And I saw The Force Awakens in theaters so many times, and I fell in love with that movie, and I fell in love with the trilogy. And I always think back very fondly of that, and there were some good times, and I just it's something to me that's important, something that I feel should get some representation. Don't get me wrong, the prequel kids have grown up money now, and we should absolutely be getting all the Jedi and clone troopers that we ask for, all of the Clone Wars characters that we have wanted in figure form since they debuted and never got made in 375 back in the day. Don't get me wrong. I acknowledge that what we are getting in the Black Series right now is what the majority wants, and I will not deny that. I just wouldn't mind if we got a sequel figure here and there. And the last sequel figure that we truly got was Darkside Vision Ray back in 2020, right when they did the packaging change. And so, yeah, it's been over 5 years at this point since we've gotten a sequel figure. And I just think one or two a year isn't a ginormous ask, I would be curious to see what goes on going forward. I'm interested to see how The Force Awakens hitting theaters if it's not a rumor. And I don't believe it would be a 10-year anniversary. I think it will happen. I'd be curious to see how it performs in theaters. I don't think it'll be the mega moneymaker that Revenge of the Sith was, but I don't think it's going to do poorly either. I kind of think that most people think of it as the better of the sequel trilogy, and while I'm personally a Last Jedi guy, I acknowledge why it would be a popular movie, and I think that we are all allowed to have our own opinions, and I'll never come at you for yours being different than mine. But yeah, I think it's time to set aside some of the hesitation. I know a lot of the sequel stuff sat and peg warmed, and admittedly, a lot of the sequel stuff when it came out just wasn't very good. And so, yeah, I guess what's the community's thoughts? Are you ready for some sequel figures? I don't think that if we had regular sequel figures, people would make it the focus of their collection or anything. But man, I mean, can we get one John Boyega and one Oscar Isaac and one Adam Driver with photoreal? Please? Like, come on. I was so excited when that Rise of Skywalker Ray came out because that photoreal on that face is superb. And I was like, man, I know Kylo Ren wears the same costume in this movie, but we'll finally get a good looking Adam Driver figure. And then we get him with his welded helmet, and we don't get an unmasked likeness on any figure for that. And that really, really sucked. And I remember waiting for the Marvel Legends Moon Knight figure to come out because I was like, surely I'll get an Oscar Isaac head here. And I didn't. So, I've been waiting and waiting, and there just hasn't been a chance for John Boyega. And I want some good sequel figures. I want some figures that would be able to stand proud and be showed off in my collection because I'm a fan of those movies, and I know I'm not the only one out there. I know that we are not a majority, but I don't think it's a small group. I think a lot of people would like to have a good looking, good modern adaptation of some of the main characters of the sequel trilogy. So fire off down below. Am I completely fried or am I spitting? Just tell me what you think. I would like to think that I'm not the only one that's ready for them to cover the entirety of the saga once more. So, And that's all for now. Thank you for hanging out. If you had a good time, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. Remember the bulletin from the beginning. Check out Black Series Most Wanted on Instagram. Go check out my Toys for Tots raffle. We are really trying to do some good stuff there and get some toys in the hands of the needy this holiday season. So check out the links in the description. May the force be with each and every one of you, and have a good one. Bye.